Alright, so now that our timeline is ready to export, let's go over the actual export process. Now, we're going to be covering a lot in this episode, so take notes if you need to. And another note, we're going to be going over Adobe Media Encoder at the end of this video, so if you don't already have it downloaded, you should start doing so now. Alright, without further ado, let's get going. With Premiere Pro open, make sure your current timeline is selected. Next, we're going to want to go up to the top left corner. You're going to see three options: Import, Edit, and Export. You're going to want to click on the Export button. It'll load for a bit and pull up a bunch of different options. It's a little bit overwhelming at first, but we're going to break it down bit by bit. So the first option you're going to see is for the file name. Of course, you're going to want to name the file whatever you want, preferably the name of the video itself. So for me, I'm going to keep it as montage_2023. Underneath, you'll see the location that the file will be saved to. Now, for me, it's not saved to the right place. I don't want my video to go to my documents folder, so I want to make sure that I set the right place. In order to set your location, just click the blue text. This will open up File Explorer and allow you to choose where to save your video. For me, I want to save my file to my external hard drive where I have the rest of my files located. For you, it may be somewhere different, like your desktop. Once you find the location of your project files, make sure to go to the Outputs folder. Double-click it to open it, make sure that the file name is still good, and then click Save. Alright, so now that we know what the name of our file is going to be and where it's going to be stored, we want to now set how it's going to be made. Premiere has a lot of different options to determine how the video will be processed, and we want to make sure we choose the right ones. Thankfully, they make it somewhat easy with this Presets tab. If you click on the tab, you'll see a bunch of different presets. Each of these will render the video out in a different way. For the purposes of this video, we're going to stick to high quality 1080p. Our timeline is at 1080p, the sources of all the videos are at 1080p, and when we upload the video, we want it to also be in 1080p. To select the preset, just click on it. You may have noticed that some of your settings had changed, but that's okay. These presets work as a good starting point to move forward from. We're not going to keep all the settings the same, but most of them are great for what we need. The first setting we can change is the format. H.264 should be perfect for this. If it isn't H.264 for some reason, just click on the tab and then select H.264. Not H.264 Blu-ray, just H.264. Once H.264 is selected, we should be good in this Immediate Settings tab. The next tab is Video. Go ahead and click on the down arrow to open up the Video tab. The first settings we have are for frame size, frame rate, field order, and aspect ratio. Now by default, these are great. We have Full HD 1920 by 1080p for our frame size. Once again, that's great, exactly what we want. You'll notice that frame rate and field order are grayed out. That's because based on the timeline that we selected, these have already been chosen for us. That is also good because we don't want our frame rate being out of sync with our timeline frame rate. Aspect ratio is also good. If for some reason your footage looks weird, like it's stretched or crushed or something, you can mess with this to try and change it, but as it is, this is perfect. At the bottom here, you'll see another option that says More. Go ahead and give that a click. Once you open it, you'll see that some more settings pop out. The first setting is Render at Maximum Depth. Go ahead and turn that on. We're always going to want that. It'll ensure that colors are smooth and clean and nothing looks weird or blocky. The next couple settings are grayed out, so we'll ignore them. And the setting after that is Use Maximum Render Quality. Now typically, we're going to want to turn this on. But if you ever go to watch your export after you're done and it looks a little bit weird, this is the first setting you should try to turn off. This has given me some issues in the past, so fair warning. But for now, we're going to keep it on. We can ignore the next couple settings and go down to Encoder settings. The first setting is Performance. By default, hardware encoding should be on. Unless your computer is really old and struggling to keep up, you should typically leave this on. It'll make encoding faster. The next couple settings we can also ignore. Profile is high, that's great. Level 4.2, that's great. This one is grayed out, don't need to worry about it. HDR doesn't matter because we're not using HDR. We can actually skip a couple more settings until we get down to the bitrate settings option. Now by default, the bitrate encoding will be set to VBR. That's fine if you don't really care about the quality of your video, but we do. So we're going to change it to CBR. CBR stands for constant bitrate. This will let us control how much quality is put into every second of the video. By default, it will be set to 20, which is pretty good. For 1080p video, you'll typically want to set the bitrate between 18 and 24 megabits per second. I'm going to set mine to 24 just to ensure maximum quality. You can do so by clicking the number and typing, or using the slider to select what number you want. Next, we can ignore these two settings and move on to audio. To open the audio tab, just click on the audio tab. The first setting we'll see is audio format. By default, it should be set to AAC. The other option is MPEG. We should just ignore MPEG, just stick to AAC. Audio codec should also be set to AAC. By default, your sample rate should be 48,000. We should stick it to that. There are other options, but 48,000 is the best for digital video. Next is the channels. We'll want to keep that at stereo. And finally, the bitrate setting. 320 is great. It can go higher, but we don't need it to go higher. Just leave it at 320. All right, and that's about it. We have set all the settings we need for a video. That was a lot of work though, right? We don't want to have to do that every time we make a new video. And you'll notice that our preset has changed to custom, but we didn't select that when we started out, right? We set it to high quality 1080p. So if you want to save all your settings that you just made in here, come over here and click these three little dots next to the preset tab. They'll open up a menu, and the first option will say Save Preset. Go ahead and give that a click. Next, it'll ask you to name your preset. Let's go ahead and name this Web. Once you've typed your name, click OK. And there we go. We now have a new preset called Web. So let's say in another project we load it up, and by default it's high quality 480p SD wide. Well, that's not what we want, because if we look in some of the settings, this isn't what we chose. This isn't what our video is at, and that's not going to look good. We can always come to this preset tab, click on it, and look, Web, the preset we just made. Click on that, and you'll see that all of our settings go back to normal. This will make exporting so much easier in the future, as all you have to do is click one button to ensure that everything is exactly as you want it to be. But don't forget to select your location and change your file name. Those won't be affected by the preset. All right, so now that we know how to make a preset and we know how to change our settings, let's go ahead and export. You'll see here over to the right that we have our entire video. You can scrub through and watch it. Mine is a bit slow, so we won't be able to watch mine, but probably looks similar to yours. You can also select the range. Remember how we put the in and out to select which parts of the video we want to export? Say for example, we wanted to render the entire timeline for whatever reason. We could choose that, or we could choose the work area, or we could choose custom. But for now, let's keep it at source in and out. And then the only buttons left to press are the Send to Media Encoder and Export button. Now you may think that we just want to skip straight to the Export button, but I want to explain the difference between these two buttons. Export will render the video out inside of Premiere. Rendering inside of Premiere can be quick, but it can also be unstable. For short videos, clicking this export video is great. It's quick, it's easy, but for longer videos, you may want to click Send to Media Encoder. Since this is a short video, we're just going to click Export. And congrats, your video is all exported and ready to watch. You should be able to find your video wherever you saved it to. Now let's say that our video was a little bit longer or more complicated. We want to render this out into Media Encoder, but how do we do that? Well, if Media Encoder is installed on your computer, just go ahead and click Send to Media Encoder. This will open up Media Encoder and put your video into the queue. Now, you may be a little bit confused. This is a whole new program with completely different panels. Let's do a quick breakdown. The first panel is the queue up in the top right corner. Here you'll see all of the projects that you have ready to render or export. To the left, we have the media browser. This isn't too important, so we're going to ignore it for now. Underneath it, we have the preset browser. As you can see here, we have the preset that we made. So if we were to ever drop another video in here, we could easily drag this preset onto the video and change its settings to match exactly what we want. You can also click the System Presets pull down and see all the other presets that Adobe has. Once again, we'll just ignore these for now. And then in the bottom right corner, we have the encoding tab. As you can see, nothing is currently going on here. But if we come back up to the queue and click the little green arrow here, we'll see that our video begins to render. Now what's great about Media Encoder is that you can watch the progress and see what frame it's on. So if for some reason your computer crashes or Media Encoder stops rendering, you can find what frame was the issue, go back to your project, and immediately fix it. And once your video is done exporting, we should be good. All right, congrats. You now know how to export in both Premiere and Media Encoder, and you know how to save presets to make exporting easier. I wish you guys best of luck on your projects, and I'll see you all next time.